Hello and welcome to Hunter Fuel, a supernatural rewatch podcast for adults who enjoy their show with a chaser. I'm Liz.
And I'm Lynn.
Thank you so much for joining us for the season 2 finale, episode 22, All Hell Breaks Loose, part 2. We model responsible drunkenness here. All participants are way over 21. No one is pregnant. No one will be driving, handling weapons, operating heavy machinery, or kissing strange ladies in the middle of the night. If you're playing along with us, those are the rules. If you decide not to follow them and you do something stupid, don't blame us. Lynn, what are you drinking this evening?
I decided to go back to, now that I'm replenished, um, vodka and soda.
Okay. All right. Always a good choice. And what is your guess for the theme of this week's featured cocktail?
Oh, I'm really hoping I'm right. But
Okay. Hit me with it.
something about a bullet. Like if there's a
Oh,
cocktail about a bullet.
that I'm
Because
certain that there are. I went in a slightly different direction. You went for the end of the episode. I went for the beginning, and the
I was
featured
gonna say
cocktail
the
for
other one was
okay.
something about crossroads.
Yeah, no. We did a Crossroad Blues for the episode Crossroad Blues.
Okay.
Um the featured cocktail for this episode is a corpse reviver. And there are two versions of the
That's
corpse
awesome.
reviver. I went with number 1, and it is 1 ounce of cognac, 1 ounce of apple brandy, and 1/2 ounce of sweet vermouth. So shake that all up with some ice, strain, and serve. Producer Mark, could you bring up our Stupornatural game cards for us, please? I gotta be honest. Once again, I am completely underwhelmed by my card. And I'm like, come on, it's the season finale. Can't you throw me a bone here?
Yeah. Now, if we now there's a couple that I'll be honest, I you recognize it faster than I do. So there's two squares that you may inform me I'm getting that I never know until it smacks me in the face.
Mm,
Um, the Americana theme song, I know I should recognize it by now. I never do.
you
And
will start to, I promise.
oh, I know. And half the time, the meta moment or the fourth wall break, you know more um what trivia than I do and
Yeah,
don't pick up on some of that. So if
yeah.
there is one, I just don't know it.
All right. Well, let's see let's see how the chips fall on this one. So
No.
as always, the first one is on the house. Give yourself that free square in the middle and cheers.
Cheers.
Wow.
Does that mean it's extra special or holy shit, that'll get the job done?
Oh, that's special, all right.
Oh, is that worse than Asylum?
Nothing else. Nothing on earth. Like I think you could probably uh, drink like landfill leaches and it would not be as bad as the asylum. But no, you need to be revived because this one might kill you. Uh, okay, well, let's see how this goes.
Well,
Um,
when your cocktail sucks, usually your card's better.
we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. Um, let's see what happens. If you're playing along with us, there is a link to generate a card of your own in the link tree. Before we get started, in our last episode, we had a conversation about Lynn. You had said it really bothered you that Ava was. in that shed that was locked from the outside, and we had a little bit of a discussion about how'd she get in there? And, I had put forth the theory that she was able to move things with her mind, a la Max from Nightmare, and we saw in that episode that when he got scared something was gonna happen to Dean, that Sam was able to also move things telekinetically. So that was my theory at the time. When I was doing the editing for the episode, I noticed that the camera very deliberately shows that the room is empty and then pans down as Andy steps back over the salt line and then pans up and there's Ava. So she just kind of appears in the room out of nowhere. And so I am revising my theory. I think she can teleport, which is a skill we see the yellow-eyed demon deploy in
Yeah.
this episode we're about to watch. So, not only can he appear in people's dreams, but he teleports as well. So I suspect they don't make a big deal out of it, but that's what they do in the episode is they show you she can kind of appear at will where she wants.
That makes more sense to me because I mean, I know that Andy could like sort of make a knife move and all of that, but
Max, yeah.
connecting a lock without a whole lot of practice, that I had a hard time buying that one.
Yeah,
I mean,
even a vintage lock is still gonna be a little bit of a complex mechanism, but yeah, I from what we see in the episode, I'm revising my theory. I think she locks it from the outside and then teleports herself in there.
I can 100% buy that one.
Alright, that's what we're going with. With that, let's get this show on the road. Just like part one, we start with the road so far. And for the first time, it is set to Kansas, Carry On Wayward Son. We get a bit of a montage of the different monsters that the boys have fought all season long.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to this story about the cult that we got at the end of season 1, and that it was made by Samuel Colt, and the rumor is that this can kill anything. Um, Again, a bit of a montage of things being killed with the cult. We also have the summoning ritual that Dean used in Crossroads Blues to summon the demon to excuse me, to save some people who had made crossroad deals. Um, and it gives us this yellow-eyed demon villain monologue from the prior episode about, needing the best and the brightest to lead his army, the competition about, only one can survive, ending with Jake killing Sam, and this, again, epic last shot of Sam and Dean kneeling
Yeah.
in the dirt and Dean just screaming his brother's name. Now,
Yeah.
again, just like the first time we saw Sam in part 1, again, we have this kind of, like, twisting crane shot up and over, with Sam just lying there. He is gone. We've got this 1,000-yard stare from Dean.
Yeah.
Bobby comes back with
Oh,
chicken, and Dean says, "No, no, I'm fine, thanks." And again, when Dean doesn't eat, we know we're in trouble. He
yep,
is,
especially when
however,
he's got
drinking.
a liquid refresher instead, so he's drinking on an empty stomach.
He is, and so we do have a Dean drinks, which we will check for, but he is clearly not handling Sam's death well at all.
No.
And I love this scene here
Yeah.
between Dean and Bobby, where Bobby is saying it's time. It's time to put him to rest." And Dean is absolutely refusing to give Sam a hunter's funeral. He's like,
Yeah.
"No, I'm not going anywhere. I just you should go. You should leave me alone." This great moment here where Bobby says, "I need your help," and Dean just like, like, "I fuck up everything I touch. Nobody needs my help." And Bobby's like, "The world is ending here." And again, this great,
Oh,
performance from Jensen. He just screams, "Let it end." So he's got, and they both kind of keep sort of half looking over their shoulder toward where Sam is dead in the other room. And Dean is like, "Don't you think I've paid enough
yeah.
of a price? Like, I lost my brother." And then he literally pushes Bobby away. And you can see he knows he's being a dick, and he
Yeah.
just he feels bad. He probably says, "I'm sorry" more in the next 5 minutes than he says in the entire rest of the series put together. Like, he's just absolutely lost, and I think this is a really beautiful performance from both Jim Beaver and Jensen.
Yeah.
So
Is it
Bobby
just
leaves.
me, or is the lighting choice in that scene interesting?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
absolutely. I'm gonna pause here on the title card. Go ahead, Lynn.
'Cause it's not as darkly lit as you would, knowing how, I mean, pretty much Dean looks like death warmed over,
Mhm.
and as dark as his soul is feeling now,
Yeah,
you would expect more of that split lighting, or even almost like complete shadow on his face.
yeah,
And they don't go that direction, which I find
no.
very interesting, that it's a gray lighting palette, but it's not dark.
Yeah, like they've done his makeup to show that he's suffering, but
Yeah,
it's no darker than the rest of
yeah.
the palette, that sort of desaturated nature that um, Supernatural had in those early seasons. And I think you're on to something because typically when we see that like split lighting, it's because there's some kind of conflict going on. And I think it's interesting to your point that they start right out essentially signaling to us he's not conflicted. He's not wrestling with anything. That he's kind of already made his decision of what he's gonna do. So while we're paused, let's take a look and see if either one of us have Dean eats or drinks. And I am not seeing one on mine.
I do.
Nope. Oh, good for you. I'm glad one of us has one.
Yeah. So,
All right. Well,
cheers. As I say, you're not letting me drink alone,
cheers.
are you?
Uh, I might. Here we go. Mm, okay. I can do it. So the other thing that we need to check for here is at the very end, it happens super fast, but Dean cries. Just like you see the tear drop off of his eyelid just a second before the title card comes. So let's also look and see if
You've got like some, I didn't see that at all. Dang. And I do have one.
I love watching black guy suffer. I shall also be a crossroad demon in my next life. However, as excited as I am, I also don't have one of the boys' cries.
I
I have
do.
Sam or Dean have sex, but if you're crying during sex, there's other issues. Um, do you have one of the boys'
Yes, I
cries?
do.
Okay, I am not going to join you for this one, so I'll be the He did not drive. All
He'll
right,
be
so
the
you
designated
are
not drinker.
all right, so you are off with an early lead here.
Yep,
All right, so coming out of the title card, we're with Jake in the woods. And uh, just like we saw in part one, as he's falling asleep, this is where the yellow eyed demon visits him, just like
yeah.
he did Sam prior episode. So he starts to drift off and across the fire from him. And I love the way this whole scene is filmed kind of through the flames, so everything's kind of
Yeah.
distorted and dreamlike. And again, the yellow-eyed demon is like, "Okay, well, congratulations. You're the last man standing. Uh, you were not the one I was hoping for. You are my second choice, but here we are." So, Lynn, I see you've paused it. Go ahead.
But I do have to the coincidence that we are looking at the devil through flames.
Yes. Yeah,
I
you
just the
yep. Oh,
coincidence
it's
or
not a coincidence.
oh yeah. Oh, I know that. I mean, nothing on
Yeah,
this show
well
ever
spotted.
is by fluke, but
No.
I just find it kind of comical that we are looking at the devil through fire.
Well, he's not the devil. He is a demon. We're gonna find out, spoiler alert, we're gonna find out what his name is next season. So this is not Lucifer,
No,
but yes,
no.
it is a demon from hell, and we're looking at him through flame. That is an excellent point. Um, Hitting play?
Yes.
Okay.
All
Um,
right. There we go.
all right. So Uh, again, Aldous
I
Hodge, I think, doing a great job, but he's despite the fact that as far as he knows, well, and he did in fact, stab Sam in the back. He is a backstabber, and um he's killed two people to get
Yeah.
where he is. He's still kind of clinging to this idea that as soon as he has the opportunity, he's gonna kill this demon himself. Um,
Yeah.
and again,
Good
it,
luck with that.
well, yeah, we're gonna have to see how this goes. And of course, the thought that comes to mind is, better men than you have tried, but essentially what the demon does is it threatens him, and he's good.
Yeah.
Your mother and your pretty little sister will know the chewy taste of their own intestines.
Ugh.
And like,
I and I love this. I'm not bluffing because you
no,
can of course sort of read what's in his mind of no, he can't possibly be. I'm not bluffing.
yeah, no, they're he's a demon, he's not bluffing. Cutting
Nope.
back to Dean, and this appears to be a building that they are squatting in. Like it's a bare mattress, things are really tattered, whatnot. Um, and Dean tells this story about Sam being about 5 years old and asking a lot of questions. Why don't we have a mom? How come we're always moving around a lot? Where does dad go? And the way that Dean tells this story sounds like a father talking. It sounds like he's saying like, "Oh, you were so small. You could have only been about 5." You do the math. Dean was 9. Like
Yeah.
Dean was a child himself. But he says, "I always tried to protect you, and I just desperately wanted you to stop asking these questions because I didn't have the heart to tell you, and I wanted you to just be a child for a little bit longer."
And I love
Um,
this, dad didn't even have to tell me.
no,
I knew I
no.
had one job and I screwed it up.
I screwed it up, like, there's one thing he has devoted his life to, and he blew it as far as he's concerned. Again, he's apologizing,
Oh,
and you can see him just and again, he's once again,
he's
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 crying.
destroyed.
And he says, "I always let down the people I love." So Dean is
Oh,
just alone, and we've seen before that Dean does not do well alone,
nope.
and, like,
No, he does not.
everyone he cares about on Earth, with possible exception of Bobby, who he's pushed away, is dead. He thinks everybody at the Roadhouse is dead. His dad is dead, his brother is dead. He is alone, and we have a Sammy,
Mhm. Yep.
and he starts saying, "What am I supposed to do?" The other thing is he's not praying, but he's like, "Oh God, what am I supposed to do?" And he doesn't turn to God. He turns to something
Mhm.
else.
Oh,
Next
yeah, the
great
exact
shot.
opposite.
He's going the opposite direction. Great shot of the front of the Impala, the
Yep.
lights blaze on, he peels out, baby's tires
Right.
squeal. We're
Yeah.
gonna pause in a moment, we're gonna talk a little bit more about that monologue that Dean just delivered, or Jensen delivered as Dean. But here's this
Nice.
summit. So we have a fake ID from
Sweet.
the Wildlife Service. We have a summoning, and
Summoning.
he takes himself to the crossroads. Once again, that kind of twisting crane shot, Dean kneeling in the dirt, but this time he's burying what he needs to summon a demon.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that twisting
he
shot again, I love that. That's such a neat shot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some Kim
and
Manners, man, he directs the fuck out of this. And again, we've got the
mhm,
looking in every direction, no sign. So the
mhm,
demon makes him wait. And
yeah,
then she just appears. So again, we've got this teleporting
yeah.
ability. This is
Oh,
Ona Grauer, and I think she does an incredible job. Now, if you have the opportunity to watch that scene from Crossroad Blues, the interaction between Dean and that Crossroad demon, and now here, there's a lot of parallels between these two scenes. That they both comment on how much they're enjoying watching him suffer. They're both playing on his feelings of failing his family, and in both scenes, the demon says they've got, like, a soft spot or a blind spot for Dean. Um, and it's kind and but despite all of the similarities, there's an entirely different level of desperation in this scene than we
yeah,
saw in Crossroad Blues. In that one, Dean was manipulating the demon, and now this one, he knows the demon has all
yeah,
the cards.
yeah.
And he
What
initially
I
says
find
Go
sorry, I
ahead.
know I cut you off,
No,
I
no, no, go
apologize.
ahead. Go, go.
What I find interesting in this scene is that I mean, I'm sure you've noticed. Normally, when Dean is looking at a woman like that, and like when he was sort of looking at her a moment ago, his intentions are very, very, very different. And we would borderline
Oh, yeah.
call it him checking out a woman.
Yeah,
And
and
we
he
know
doesn't.
darn well he's not even thinking about it
He's
right
not even
now.
looking. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Yeah, we do not have Dean checking out a woman here. Despite what we're about to see, I don't think we can call it that this is,
No. No, I mean,
uh
like, he's got that sort of I call it that kinda sensual look in his eye, but it's
no.
not for that reason. Like,
No, all he wants is his brother back. Like
yeah,
he is absolutely focused on that. And he says, I want 10 years. And she says, no. And he's like, it's the same deal you give everybody else. She's like, no. And she says, who wants your gutter soul anyway? And we've talked about this before, that there's hints that they kind of never officially circle back to, that Dean has done something in his past that he feels very guilty about. And so I think again the demon is kind of poking at that. And she says, look, I shouldn't do this. I could get in a lot of trouble, but I will give you 1 year. And she had done the same thing the prior crossroad demon did, where she walked away and he's like, "Wait." And you see this look in her face like, "I know I got you." And then I love this line. She says, "It's a fire sale and everything must go." So she
Yeah,
comes back and she's like, "This is it. You get 1 year." And he
he
kisses
goes,
her. She's putting the moves on him. She
yeah.
don't mind this at all.
No.
Um, but cut immediately from that to Sam regaining consciousness. So he is back alive. We have a black screen, and I am going to pause on that. Um, all right, so we have baby's tire squeal, a summoning ritual, and a fake ID. Let's see if any of us have any of those.
Ah,
The fake ID is the Dean Ford ID from Dead in the Water, which is a reference to Star Wars. And if we remember that Kripke envisioned this as kind of a Luke Skywalker Han Solo
yeah,
relationship,
yep.
it's interesting we get kind of a callback to those earliest episodes with the Star Wars reference. And
Which, of
I
course, as we always say, there's no mistaking that. Like,
no,
that that's not a fluke.
no, no, not at all. And I am
I don't have
extremely
any.
oh, wait, I have baby's tires squeal. I finally have one on the board.
No, I don't have any.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I
Parts
do.
are
I have fake IDs. It's staring right at me.
oh, it's with
It's
parts
like
this
it's
stingy.
like yeah, it's like I just needed kind of like a blinking beacon right around that
An
one.
arrow. Point, point, point.
Oh, wait, yeah.
All right,
Come
so
on.
one each. You are
Yeah.
still well ahead of me. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, goodness. Mm. Okay. Before we hit play,
Yes.
the that monologue that Jensen delivered, he knew when he saw the script that it was going to be really emotionally taxing for him. So he went to the director, Kim Manners, and he said, "Look, I can give you a couple of takes. I'm not going to be able to do a lot here. And so let's figure out how we can shoot this to get you what you need while I I still have the resources to deliver my best performance." So they closed the set. They put tarps up. Kim Manners set up a couple of cameras so we could get more than one angle at the same time. And he literally shot through like little cutouts in the tarp to try to give Jensen as much privacy as he could. And holy smokes, Jensen just delivered in spades. Um, and what's funny is Jensen has said he knew he nailed it when he looked and he saw fortunately, it was the side away from the camera, but he looked and Jared had started to cry listening to this delivery from him. So he's like,
Oh.
"Okay." We could s we got it. If I made him cry, I know I got
I
this. So
I was like,
they
he
they
just made a dead man cry.
he made it. Jensen is so talented, he can make a dead man cry.
Man cry.
So, the only other comment I had wanted to make is that, all season long, Dean has been pissed off at John for making a deal to save him. And under similar circumstances, we get that monologue where he's talking like a father. under similar circumstances, watching his, proverbial son
Yeah.
dead, he makes the exact same choice.
Well, what
Uh,
I think is interesting, and I know we haven't hit it yet, and actually I'm gonna kind is to me that kind of gets answered in a couple of scenes from now. And
yeah, that's gonna come back around.
yeah, I know exactly you know which scene I'm talking about, but I want to reserve my comment for
I
that scene.
do. Alright, well, in that case, let's hit play here. We're coming out of the title card. We're back in this room that they're squatting in,
Yes.
and say, damn it, he doesn't pull his shirt up very far, but he's looking at his back in the mirror, and so I
Now
mean
what I
he's
find interesting, sorry, I apologize for but you see how much he's cringing in that moment?
he's in pain.
Yeah. Now, keep that in mind for a moment because this bothers me.
Well,
Because
Dean hugs him and he's like, "Oh, Dean, this hurts." And so
yeah,
here's the thing, he's alive. He is miraculously healed. Right?
yeah,
So, he got stabbed. He's in pain. So it's like the demon fixed enough that the body was habitable. But he's hurting.
yeah. What
Um,
that makes sense, and he should be like it
right.
shouldn't just be like whoosh. But in the next scene or the next two scenes, it's like okay, like it, there's something that bothers me, and I'll explain.
We'll get there. We'll get there. For the moment, Dean, because all Dean knows is the second they got there, Jake stabbed Sam in the back. So
Yeah.
that's all he knows, and so he's trying to get information out of Sam. And so now Dean is eating, and Sam is kind of filling him in, but he says, the demon only wanted one of us to walk out of there alive. And Dean's like, anything else? And Sam's like, no, no, nothing, nothing at all. Absolutely nothing. No, why do you look at me like that? And you see this little like twitch in Dean's eye that he's like, yeah, there's something else here. Um,
Yeah, a
he's
big
not
something else
buying.
that he's leaving out. A massive
Yep, he
something
doesn't
else.
mention anything about the demon feeding him. Demon blood, nada on Mary recognizing the yellow-eyed demon, nothing about needing a leader for a demon army, zippo. And Dean knows he's lying about something, but right now all he wants is for his brother to take it easy. And you can kind of see in Dean's face, like, bitch, I just sold my soul for you. Can you just like rest for a minute? And Sam was like, "No, I need back in this fight." Like that, we do have a son of a bitch. We have a damn it. And Sam is like, I need to find Jake and I need to punish him for what he did to me. I mean, that's obviously not the words that he's using, but Sam is like back in it. Like, and
Yeah,
I said, "You can see he's hurting," and he's like, "Don't care. Bobby's only a couple hours away. We're going."
yeah.
Um, and Dean is like, Crap, can't
I
stop
love
him.
this. I'm sorry. No.
No,
Like
no, like, big brother, nope, nope, I need this. We're going." Off they go to Bobby, and Bobby is like,
oh
"Oh,
fuck.
fuck. Sam is alive. This is this is a new development." And you can see him, like, trying to hold it together, and Dean is looking so shifty in the background, and Bobby is just like,
You
you
son of a bitch.
you and I are gonna have a conversation about this boy."
Oh my god. Like how does he not pick up on the fact that the two of them are pretty much like having an entire conversation with that
Yeah.
facial expression? Like, I
Well,
know
you can
what
see
you
Sam
did.
like, "What what is happening here?"
But what I
Um,
find interesting is like he was in agony trying to get up from that bed. He walks into there like nothing's happened. Like not a
yeah,
twinge, nothing.
mm, the Winchesters are tough. The Winchesters have prescription painkillers of dubious origin. And it's something that's going to come back in later seasons where like there's an episode many seasons from now where Sam literally gets hit by a car and a doctor asks him what his pain thresh like how what level pain is he at, and he says a 3. Yes. Um in the meantime, Bobby is like, "Hey, I got some big heavy books in my truck, Dean. Why don't you come help me carry them?" So he drags Dean behind the woodshed and he's letting him have it. And Dean finally admits he's only got 1 year. Um, Again, here's our damn it, here's our son of a bitch. And what I think is interesting is, the prior episode, there wasn't a single flicker of demon omens or demon sign anywhere in the entire continental United States. And now all of a sudden, the country is just lighting up like a switchboard,
Yeah,
except for one tiny little place.
yeah.
Um,
Now so, yeah, my
so
favorite
we paused
line
it
in
here. Go ahead, Lynn.
yeah, yeah, well, I do my best not to talk over you. I know I fail miserably quite often.
Mm,
Um, I love how he says that my dad did the same when they're talking about, of course, Bobby has now gotten him to admit that he made the deal and it's a year. And he said, my
yes.
dad made the same deal. I'm not even supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Now my life, it's my life. It's like
Yes.
my life can now mean something.
Yeah, yeah, and this impassioned
Yeah.
response from Bobby, like, "What? And it didn't before?"
Before.
It
Yeah. Just, oh, I love that. Oh, I
Yeah,
love that.
this is yeah, like, Jim Beaver is a hell of an actor, and the 2 of them in this scene together, like, again, there's a lot of interactions between Dean and Bobby here, and you can see Bobby's frustration that these Winchesters, that they're just lining up to get themselves killed for somebody else. It's driving him crazy. Oh,
Oh,
right.
all
Hitting
right, hitting
play?
play. Yep. Yeah, I didn't want to get too far into the scene without
Yeah,
commenting
yeah,
on
yeah.
that line.
This episode, man, they pack a ton in and it goes quickly. So we're gonna do what we can to keep up. But he's Bobby is shouting, "Are you that screwed in the head?" And you can see in Dean's face, yeah, yeah, he
Yeah.
is. Thanks.
What
And
I
he's
think
like,
is amazing, and I know we've talked about this before, is they're screaming at each other.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, like, you can literally see the flecks of spit flying out of Jim Beaver's mouth.
Yeah. And yet we know that Sam's miraculously not hearing a darn
Not a
bit of
word,
this.
not a word. They've, uh, they've gone out in the junkyard and yeah,
Yeah.
no, apparently you can't hear from the junkyard. However, something is moving in the junkyard,
Yeah.
and I love this, like, they go immediately from screaming at each other to, like, "Oh, crap," in the eye. It's Ellen.
Ellen.
Ellen has
Yay!
survived the burning of the
Road.
roadhouse, which is very exciting. We're happy to see Ellen. Um, and come back to them testing to make sure she's not a demon. There's this great shot here where she takes a hit of the holy water and she slides the shot glass and the camera follows the shot glass
Yeah.
across the table. It's a really clever shot. I love it.
And I love that.
So
Whiskey now, please.
yes, now I need something to drink. So if we remember from part one, the Ash had called Dean and Bobby and said, "I am on to something big. I can't tell you over the phone. You have to get here as soon as you can." But by the time they got there, the whole place had been burned to the ground. So Ellen is saying she, of all the dumb luck, they had run out of pretzels and she had run
Whistle.
to the store. And man, Sam Ferris I think she's doing a great job because like the character is like she's a tough lady, but she's not cold. She's not completely emotionally distant from everything that's happened. Like she's not letting it stop her, but she lost good people in that
Yep,
fire. Um and so you can see it like I think her performance is really great.
oh,
But what we
absolutely.
find out is that Ash stashed something in the safe. Coincidentally, Harvell's had a safe. He stashed something in just before he was killed. And she pulls out this map with a bunch of X's on it. And come to find out, Samuel Colt of the Colt fame built a set of 5 frontier churches in a pentagram and connected them with iron rail lines. And what's kind of cool about this, if you think about the mechanics of a devil's trap, that
Mhm.
Bobby described a devil's trap as being like a roach motel. The devils could demons, excuse me, could walk in, they couldn't walk back out. But because this is made of iron, they can't cross
Right.
in. So
Right.
they can't get in, and anything that happens to be in there also can't get out. So it's an interesting thing that's been built here, and we're gonna find out what's so significant about that. That this is not a typical Roach Motel devil's trap.
Nope.
And Dean even says it, like, what if he wasn't trying to keep things out? What if he was trying to keep something in?
And yeah.
Um, and so you know, you could see him like kind of working out. And he's like, a full-blooded demon would never be able to get across. And Sam is like, shit,
No, I
that's
know.
what that's what the Frontierland Hunger Games were over.
Yep,
Cut
to
to
get
Jake.
somebody
And
tough
again,
enough.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah.
Get someone tough enough to be able to do what needed to be done to get into there.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Like he couldn't do it himself. So all this bullshit about needing a leader to for his army, not
Nope.
entirely true. Got this great shot of the camera low on the ground with the tracks in the front, and Yellow-Eyed Demon just pops in. So this is in real life. Jake's not asleep this time, so Demon has teleported in, and he's explaining to I want to call him Aldous, but it's the actor to Jake. Um, he's like, here's what I need you to do. There's something about 50 miles that way. I need you to go open a crypt for me, and you're gonna need a key.
Oh,
And he hands him the Colt. So
Colt.
we haven't seen the Colt since the season opener. So not only do we have the season bracketed by demon deals, we have the season bracketed by the disappearance and reappearance of the Colt. Hands the Colt to Jake and says, "This is the only thing on earth that can kill me." And he's like, "Oh, I'm shocked by this unforeseen turn of events." So before he was threatening Jake, and now he's not threatening Jake. Now he's saying, "This is a brave new world here. You and your family could be
Yeah,
royalty.
yeah.
You could sit at the right hand of the devil in this new world." So instead of threatening, he starts to bribe.
Right. Yep.
Um, or you could go back to that factory job that goes nowhere. Um, And I think this is really where we start to see a shift for Jake. That in the prior episode, he seemed like a good guy right up until he
Yeah.
stabbed Sam in the back. He seemed like a decent guy. And even at the beginning, and even a little bit here, like, I can kill this demon. Now we know it's not as
Yeah.
easy because Sam tried and shot at the demon point blank
Yeah.
range and missed. But as soon as he's like, "Wait, I could have a better life if I make this deal," and he
Yeah,
just uncocks the gun. So we start to see now a change from
yeah,
in Jake, where he is now accepting this quote unquote devil's bargain.
yeah.
He heads to the cemetery. Dean and we presume the rest of the crew have gotten there ahead of him. So they're hiding behind the gravestones. And here comes
Mhm.
Sam,
Sam.
who's looking for revenge. And so now all four of them are lined up with their guns pointed at Jake. And here's the bomb drop from Jake. Like,
Yeah,
no, no, I killed you. You were stone dead. I
dead.
didn't miss.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, and
and,
look at he looks right at Dean like, "Wait
yep,
a second here."
yep. And I think there's a fantastic shift here from Aldous Hodge, where he goes from sort of a kind of a I hate to say mild-mannered because he wasn't a pushover, but, like,
Yeah,
we see him go from that, like, nice guy, and he just smiles, and man, he looks evil.
evil.
And he's like, "Oh,
Oh,
hey,
yeah,
lady,
lady.
do me a favor, put that gun to your head." And you see, like, oh, he's embraced this now,
And you can
so
but you
not
can
only
see
is
Ellen's fighting that with
yep.
everything in her.
And she can't stop him, so he's not just super strong, he's got Max's telekinetic ability, he's got Simon's ability to command not Simon, I'm sorry, Andy's ability to command
Yeah,
people to do things, um, and he's like, "Oh, once you give yourself over to it, it's amazing what you can do."
yeah.
So to protect Ellen, they all put their guns down. We can't call it a weapon drop because they do it
No.
on purpose, sadly.
Uh-oh. Yeah,
Um, and as soon as everybody puts their guns down, runs for he runs for this crypt. It's not a coincidence that the gate to hell is unlocked with a handgun.
no.
But they rescue Ellen before she can shoot herself, and Sam
Yeah,
is not looking so good himself right here, and he just puts multiple rounds into Jake, and he stands over Jake and just coldly, as Jake is begging for his life, he just keeps firing, and you start to see the little flecks of blood
yeah,
land on Sam's face, which is similar to what we saw in Bloodlust when Dean killed the vampire with the saw. And again, the little flecks of blood on his face were very
yeah,
concerning to Sam at this time, but at that time, excuse me, but now Sam's not worried. Uh, Dean is. Um, so this
yeah.
is this is something different. Meanwhile, the mechanism on this gate to hell continues to spin, and then all
Eh,
of a sudden, Bobby goes, "Oh no, run!" Dean
this
grabs the
th
gun out. He does this kind of fun somersault over a grave. Excuse me. They all take cover, and the gates just explode open. The pressure wave with the and all the gates catch fire. There's a little explosion back in the corner. I'm gonna pause here on this black screen, and just all of a sudden, this cloud of demon smoke starts to pour out. And okay, the demon smoke special effects are a little 2006, but I think that the rest of that shot with the fire racing down the tracks, I
yeah,
think
oh,
that's
yeah.
pretty cool. I
That
think
that is
that's pretty cool.
my only
Okay.
issue with that scene
Yes,
is
tell me.
they're watching the thing rotate with the gun. Why
Yep.
did no one just run over and grab the damn thing?
Yeah, apparently it's too late. Apparently, because Dean does snatch it out, but
Yeah, but they've been sitting
it's
there watching it for a while. It's like,
you're not
how
wrong.
like, instead of watching Sam, someone run over and grab the thing while somebody else rescues Sam, like, someone else like chill Sam out. Someone else go and grab the damn gun
Fair,
out.
fair. It's a I can't argue with you about it. You're not wrong. Um, and I don't recall off the top of my head if it continues to spin after Dean yanks the gun out or not. So I just for my own to avoid cognitive dissonance, I will choose to believe that it wouldn't have mattered that because Jake doesn't like have to twist it or anything, so it just opens. So, um I choose to believe that it would have like once the key goes in the lock, it's just going to open. Okay, but let's see here. We've got a son of a bitch. We have a damn it. And that is what we have for right now. So let's check our cards here.
And I
And I
don't have either.
I don't have either. This is getting really season finale, man. Oh, I'm sad. All
Actually, I
right.
did find one though that I think because we had a summoning earlier, right? Or am
We
I
did.
losing my? Okay,
Nope.
yep,
No, that was
I
a
did have.
summoning.
Yep, I missed that one. I had that one. But yeah, I had the summoning. I missed that one earlier. But
Okay.
that's the only. I think that might be my last one of the day.
Yeah. Well, at the moment,
I
I have a whopping 2. Uh, okay. Well, with that, hitting play. Demons continue to pour out, and they do this kind of cool thing where, in addition to just the demon smoke, there's also some of the spirits that we saw earlier in the series. There's a woman in white, there's a hook man, um, that these souls are starting to just escape from hell. This whole set was, constructed on a sound stage, and they brought in mulch, which apparently smelled very strongly of horse manure
Oh,
and
wonderful.
made for something of an unpleasant filming experience. But Dean notices, like, there is still the 1 round. Now, this is the only surviving round that they have, and at this point in the show, without the bullets, the gun is useless. Dean's got
Yeah.
1 left. He's like, "Wait a minute. The demon might be here." Turns around. No, demon gets the gun away from him, throws demon against Dean, excuse me, against a gravestone, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Poor Dean, poor Jensen got injured. Um,
Oh.
but the demon pins both Dean and Sam down. And he's got the gun away from Dean. Dean's got a pretty serious head injury, which he had a similar head injury after the car crash
Yeah.
in the season opener. So again, we just keep tying back and forth.
Yeah.
Pardon me. And he again, villain's got a monologue, man. He sits down and he's like, "Yeah, demons can't resurrect anybody from the dead by themselves. The red tape, it'll drive you nuts. But you could do it. And you got a better deal than your dad ever got. And you never asked why. Are you 100% certain that what you got back is pure Sam?" Like, and you could see it start to worry Dean because
Oh yeah.
remember from Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things that sometimes what comes back is angry and vengeful.
Yep. Yep.
And
Of course, and he's looking at the way that Sam just put several bullet holes
to Jake.
uh into Jake. Like, okay, that's
Yeah, like
unusual for
what
him.
yeah, what have I done? So the demon is just about to shoot Dean, and here comes Dad. John has clawed his way out of hell. He grabs a hold of the demon, yanks it out of its meat suit, pardon me, uh, just for a minute to distract it. Demon runs back into its meat suit, gives Dean time to get the colt. And I love this is gorgeous. You see
Oh,
Dean, like the hammer goes, you see the explosion, you see it. We follow the bullet out of the barrel of the gun straight into the demon here. He's sparking out little smoke coming out of the bullet hole, and you just see this flash of skulls in his eyes just before the demon burns out of the vessel. It's fantastic. You know,
oh,
I mean, he's been the bad guy for 2 full seasons here, and he gets a good dispatch. So here's John. Me.
I love how they actually like for most of the ghosts you just see they are very, pardon the pun, but ghost like.
Yeah, they're very transparent and opaque.
Yeah, and John is very human like.
He can actually, like, put his hand on Dean's shoulder, and they have
Yeah,
this moment where the 3 of them as a family killed the thing that killed their mother. And it's a
yeah.
great like, this is what they've been fighting for 2 seasons. And it's this great moment. We're gonna talk a lot more about this scene when we pause it. There's some
Oh,
interesting things going on here.
oh
Uh,
yeah.
and we get bright light,
And
and John
goes
Winchester flickers away in a
and
poof.
I choose to believe he goes to heaven now and not back to hell.
Yeah, I mean, there's no indication he has gone back to hell. All right. So on this black screen here, we're gonna pause it. So we have Dean gets thrown against a wall. Let's see.
Yeah.
I almost don't want to look. I
I'm
do. I have.
I'm almost positive I don't have it. Now, if one of the boys had gotten tied up or choked, I'd be in good shape.
Yeah,
But
no, not so much.
yeah, no. Nope.
No, not so much.
Nope.
Okay, well, I am gonna, you know what? I'm gonna make it a big guy because I only have one other square. I'm
And I'm gonna
a
drink with you
fool.
because I'm
All
thirsty.
right. Mm, okay. That is not growing on me.
I shouldn't be
Um,
laughing, but kind of funny.
let's go ahead and laugh. It is pretty funny. All right, couple pieces of trivia about that. Lynn, I know your oopsies, and there was an oopsie in the scene we just saw. Did you come across it? It's about the gun.
Oh my god, I'm now thinking about it.
All right, well, I'm
No,
gonna I'm
put
gonna
put me out of my
not leave you
misery.
in suspense. So you see them cock the gun 3 separate times without ever firing it, and there's no indication anybody uncocks it in between. So, they just keep pulling the hammer back and, nobody ever fires it. So that's a small oopsie. The entire scene that we saw between Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Jared, and Jensen was because of scheduling issues with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, they had to film it 6 weeks prior to when they filmed the rest of the episode. They didn't even have a script yet. So they filmed the entire thing in front of a blue screen, and if you look carefully, you can see that, like, the lighting's a little funny and, like, the background's a little funny. So they did the whole thing in front of blue screen without having any idea what the script was gonna be, And then when they got a little closer, they realized that what they had done with Jared kind of didn't make any sense. So they reshot his coverage against a tennis ball to stand in for Jeffrey Dean Morgan. So so that's why they're sort of standing in that kind of strange configuration, and the lighting's a little wacky, is because it was all done on blue screen well in advance of them even knowing what the story was. So that's all kind of zany. The other thing is that that shot where Dean gets launched,
Yeah.
Jensen did part of the stunt himself, and they had kind of padded the gravestone so that he wouldn't get hurt when he threw himself against it, but they didn't pad the stone base. And so
Oh.
they were doing Frederick Lane's coverage. Jensen hits this gravestone, and he slammed his ulnar nerve, his funny bone in his elbow, into the corner of the stone base. And
Ow!
he's just got to lie there and suffer because he chose to lie there and suffer because he didn't want to ruin Frederick Lane's take on his coverage. So he just kind of sat there and suffered and, like, delivered his lines just to try to give Frederick Lane something to work with. And he said so recently that to this day, his right elbow is still far more sensitive than his left, that he'll just kind of, bump it lightly and it still hurts.
Oh,
So
no.
he took a bit of beating in that scene. All right.
Uh,
Last couple minutes here, hitting play. And again, we've got Frederick Lane, we've got him, he's dead, and the smoke is like continuing to rise from this bullet hole. And, the two brothers are just kind of like, holy shit, we did it. Like,
I love that.
it's
Well, check that off the to-do list.
Yeah, like, they've literally spent the entirety of Sam's life. FYI, today is his birthday. Today is his 24th birthday, as of this episode. So he's killed and resurrected on his 24th birthday. So they've spent the entirety of Sam's life hunting for this thing, and now it's dead. Um, So this is a big moment for the Winchesters, and I like that they, from a script writing perspective, they take this moment to kind of wrap up this storyline from the first 2 seasons. And at the same time, they're like, we just opened the gates of hell. And so Sam is like, I don't know what to say. And Dean's like, I do. And he gets down and he looks the demon in the eye and he says, that was for our mom, you son of a
Son of a
bitch.
bitch.
Uh, is it hokey? Yes.
Yes.
Do I love it? Also,
Hell
yes.
yes.
Hells yeah.
Now, well, I was
Yes.
gonna say, now, would we call that a heartfelt bro moment? Because I would.
No, but I would call this what we're about to see, a heartfelt moment. Because again, remember all the way back at the beginning when Sam was dead and Dean was telling this story about Sam asking these really difficult questions and Dean not wanting to answer him because he wanted him to be able to hang on to his innocence just a little bit longer. Once again, at the end of the episode, Sam is asking questions Dean doesn't want to answer. He says, and he just looks him right in the eye and he says, did I die? Did you sell your soul for me? And Sam just won't let it go. And finally Dean is like, fuck, yeah. Like he just doesn't want his brother to have to live with it like Dean has had to live with it all this past season. and Sam finally gets him to admit, "I have a year. Yeah, I have 1 year." This is absolutely a heartfelt like, they're both in tears, and and
Uh-huh.
I
I love
one of
"Don't
my
get mad
favorite
at me,
moments.
I love you." Oh, I love that
Yes.
line. Love that
There's some
line.
great dialogue here, and I what my favorite part of it is, "I had to look after you, that's my job," and Sam says, "What do you think my job is?" And Dean is like, "What?" Like, it never occurred to him that his brother would need to take care of him just like he needs to take care of his brother. Like, that is not in his head, and Sam's like, "There is nothing I would not do for you." And
Oh,
this is a fantastic line here. He says, "I don't care what it takes. I'm gonna get you out of this." And that
yes.
is extremely meaningful, and we're gonna see a lot
Yeah.
about what he means, in the
Mhm.
seasons to come. So, but
Mhm.
now there's hundreds of demons that have escaped from hell. It's an army,
Yeah.
and
Hope you
of
boys are
course, we've
ready.
got Bobby. The war just began. Like, the war has just begun. Episode ends with Boston's, "Don't Look Back," and this great reflection again of the pilot where the 2 boys are standing over the trunk, throw the gun in and say, "We got work to do."
Work to
So it's a
do.
reversal because it was Sam who said it in the pilot. RIP, we got work to do. That's not on our cards anymore, and it makes me very sad. But at part 1, All Hell Breaks Loose part 1 started with Boston's foreplay and long time, and now it ends with Boston Don't Look Back. So we've got a lot of bookends between
Yeah.
part 1 and part 2. So that is our episode.
Oh, and
Let's see here. We do have a heartfelt bromance.
which I do have.
Oh, good for you. I my
You don't.
goodness. Oh, I do. I have a heartfelt bromance finally, which gives
Yay.
me a sum total, a grand total for the season finale of 2 in a row and 4 total scores.
I my sum total was 3 in a row and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total squares.
6. You
That was
essentially did.
lame.
Oh my goodness, this is awful. And I will say this, and we've mentioned this on this podcast before. It's entirely random. Like, the
Yes.
card is what it is. This is the one time in the over a year we've been doing this, I looked at my card and I was like, "God damn it." And I had a little devil on my shoulder saying, "Just get yourself another card, Liz. No one will know." And I said, "No, no,
Yeah,
I
yeah, no,
will
I
play by the rules."
can Yeah, no, once in a blue moon, it's like, you can just
Tempting.
hit yeah, oh, it's tempting, and it's like, "No, no, 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 no."
I bumped the button. Well, I am going to drink a full I don't typically do this, but I'm gonna drink a full shot for that one heartfelt Broman because 'cause I've had no other opportunities. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh.
Mm,
Yeah, trust me,
mm.
my sips have gotten really, really, really big because I was like you're like, "That is so bad."
That is not great. That's not great. Okay. Well, one thing you loved and one thing you hated.
One thing I mean, I was thinking about this. I'm like, the list of things I loved is really, really long.
This
But
is an amazing episode.
yes, it
This is
is.
But Eric Kripke wrote it with, and Kim Manners directed the shit out of it. It's fantastic.
So I'm going to take my very long list and
Yeah,
I'm gonna go down to one just from
okay.
things that I know
Pick
I've mentioned before and pick something I've never mentioned.
pick one.
I love the shot of the bullet.
Yes.
I
Yeah, that is
Oh
well
my
done.
god, that is amazing, just
Yeah.
slow-mo camera and
Yep.
love it.
It
Love
it
it, love
is
it, love it.
it is an iconic shot from the show. It's literally shot from the show. It is fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, and one thing you hated.
It still kind of annoys me that, I mean, I know that they're all kind of standing there looking at the gates opening
Yeah. Oh,
and no
goodness.
one. Yeah.
What should we do?
Yeah, exactly. And nobody like it's like people like at least try do something.
I hear where you're coming from, and it is something, if you've seen the show all the way through, you know that the boys have a pretty interesting learning curve to surmount. And we go from Phantom Traveler, where there's one demon on a plane, and
Yeah.
Dean is saying, like, this is too big for us, like demons. They go to Bobby, who is a demon expert, at the end of season one, and he's like, yeah, demon attacks are really kind of rare. And now they're standing at the gates of hell, and hundreds of demons now escape. And from this point on, demons are going to be one of their primary monsters that they fight. And it becomes really passé for them. So if this happened to them in season 8 or 10, they were like, "Bah, gate of hell. Come on." We know it. This is nothing. We got this. But here they're I mean, they're literally 24 and 28, and they're like, "Eh, crap. What do we do?" So I completely understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with you. It's also just kind of interesting to me where we are on their journey as hunters.
Yeah.
And that is their reaction to just kind of like, "C I don't know what to do here."
Well, if it was just the two of them, but you've also got Ellen and Bobby
Bobby.
right
Uh,
there who
yep.
are more seasoned. It's like,
And Bobby
yep,
clearly knows it's a gate to hell. Like, he identifies it to them like, "Oh, fuck, that's a hell gate."
yeah. So it's like, dudes, maybe instead of just standing there looking at it, once the big kaboom, maybe you need to move. Like,
Fair,
at least put some backbone into it. Like, come on,
fair.
try to close the damn thing versus standing there watching it.
Yeah, yep. No, I hear where you're coming from. Um, and it's not the last time in the series we're gonna see one of the Winchesters kind of stand there awestruck while they really should be doing something. For me, the thing I loved, and as you said earlier, how do you pick just one thing?
I was
Like,
gonna say, believe me, my list was fairly long.
this is a fan fucking tastic episode. And what I'm gonna go with, uh, out of so many choices, is the demon deal. That I love that and the callbacks to Crossroad Blues, the way the demon manipulates Dean. Like, I think it's a really wonderful performance from that actor. There's so much that gets packed into that one. scene, and and I think, it really kind of elevates the episode. As far as something I hated, and again, I had a really hard time coming up with something I didn't like in this episode, and what I've finally settled on is when the yellow-eyed demon repossesses his vessel, after John, like, wrestles him out. Frederick Lane, who is an immensely talented actor, his performance as the yellow-eyed demon when he couldn't fucking see
Yeah,
because those yellow contacts were opaque, his performance is extraordinary.
yeah.
He made a choice when the vessel was being repossessed to make this nom 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 face, and it annoys the shit out of me. Yum, 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 yum. Like, dude, really? That you thought that was a good idea? Demon smoke. Yum, 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 yum. And that is it. That is the only thing I can come up with that I did not love about this episode. It is really fantastic. Okay, that is last call. Thanks for coming along with us for the ride. If you like what we're doing here, be sure to tell your friends. Please also like our videos and subscribe so it's easier for other people to find us too.
And if you want us to make more bonus episodes, please let us know what you want us to talk about.
Yes.
Either comment on the videos or find us on Instagram, just any social.
Yeah,
We're definitely find us. Let us know because Lord knows we love to make those
we
bonus
do.
episodes and just talk off the cusp, and God knows what's going to come out of our mouth when we do that. So
You are not wrong about that, and you are always welcome to email us at hunterfuelpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on social at Hunter Fuel Podcast. We're going to be doing a little bit of traveling. And so we're going to take a break for a couple of weeks. But when we come back, we will be discussing all of season 2. And we're going to play a lightning round of Supernatural. So the cards may have been stingy this time, but they're not going to know what hit them after next time. So until then, be safe, everybody. Bye bye.
bye bye.